Hello there, my friend, and welcome to the types of carbohydrate video. Let me tell you, before we dive in here, I've been a dietitian for over 10 years. I've been coaching for over 14 years now. And this information that you're about to hear is the information that I think I have repeated the most in my career. It's extremely important. It's extremely simple, but extremely important, and even that much more important to implement. And here's who it's for. If you have prediabetes or diabetes, check, then this is absolutely for you. If you have high blood sugar or high A1C, blood sugar is a snapshot. If I were to prick your finger right now and take blood from it, I'd test the amount of sugar in the blood. If I took a snapshot right now, your A1C, your hemoglobin A1C, is a measure of the red blood cell and how much sugar it accumulates over a 90-day period. So your fasting blood sugar is if I took a snapshot right now, what I would see, and then your A1C is an average over 3-month period of time. So if those are high, and then we have our triglycerides. Triglycerides are a measure of fat in the blood. And typically if we eat too much carbohydrate, it turns into excess fat in the blood. Now, there's always a reference range, and then there's an ideal range when it comes to your blood sugar and your triglycerides. So fasting blood sugar, you're going to see the reference range, which, you know, if you just get your blood work done, you see the reference range as below 100. We really want it in the 80s. Now, at the same time, then your triglycerides, they say the reference range is going to be below 149. An ideal range, we really want it between 50 and 75. So, you know, it's one of those scenarios where if you're at 99 with your blood sugar, you're normal, but oh, you're 100, now you have prediabetes. It's a little too close to the line. Do you see what I'm saying? We don't want to go there. Now, the last most important piece of who this is for is insulin resistance as well. So a lot of that, sometimes insulin resistance can come with burnout. It can come with hormone imbalances. There's a lot of components that go to this. These are all test and measurable. So we're talking about sugar right now. We're talking about the blood sugar in your body. We're talking about diabetes, high blood sugar, high triglycerides, insulin resistance. This is who this is for. And it's worth its weight in gold because I can't tell you how many times I've actually repeated this in my life. So let's dive in. Anything you eat is going to be a protein, a fat, or a carbohydrate. Anything you eat at all. Taking out one of these is like taking out water, sunshine, or air. I mean, this is just, it's real whole food and you need all of it. So most of you know this, but I'm going to go through it anyway. So what is proteins? Proteins are going to be things like your meat and your fish and your nuts. Say it with me if you know what's here. Seeds. This is going to be, eggs. There's a bunch in here. Then there's going to be fats. All of your fats are going to be things like oils. Yes, nuts and seeds. And we're looking for the good oils here, not the rancid oils. We are looking at things like butter. When I say rancid oils, if we grew up in the fat phobic era, Crisco, margarine, canola oil, vegetable oil, those are all highly processed oils, which can lead to increased inflammation in the body, primarily because they've been very highly processed, or they're just not real. After spending 14 years in this work, when someone asks me, what should I be eating? It always comes down to the fact if it didn't grow from the ground or have a mama, don't eat it. It's pretty much that simple. Then we have to manipulate, like I'm doing here for you now, if we have the high blood sugar issues. So oils, nuts, seeds, butter, avocados. I'm sure there's more here. Now, carbohydrates. Ultimately, we'll call it 7 kinds of carbohydrates. 7, you ready? 1, vegetables. Veggies. 2, fruit. 3 is we'll just say not starchy. Starchy veggies. So your starchy veggies are going to be things like your potatoes and your squash, right? And then 4, milk and yogurt. Even milk that is unsweetened breaks down to lactose in the body. So lactose is a form of carbohydrate, which is sugar. All carbohydrates break down to sugar in the body. It's not bad. They just break down to sugar, just like your fats break down to fatty acids and your proteins break down to amino acids. Your carbohydrates break down to different types of sugar, glucose, lactose, fructose, those things. Then we have beans. Yes, beans are a protein as well. They are also a starch that we put into the carbohydrate category when we're talking about the types of carbohydrates. 6, grain. Now, pay close attention here. Grain is going to be your wheat, barley, rye, oats, amaranth, rice, and then anything I make from those. Bread, pasta, cracker, cookie, even gluten-free, etc. So grains are all your grains, and then I make things from grains. So that's all going to fall under the grain category. Quinoa falls here too. And then lastly is going to be your alcohol and candy. Okay, so here's my 7 kinds of carbohydrate. Let me get my purple marker so you can see this line right here. Anything in this box right here: fruit, starchy vegetables, milk and yogurt, beans, grains, alcohol, and candy. If I eat, can you see this? Yes, you can. If I eat too much of this way, this is high blood sugar, high triglycerides, high A1C, diabetes. If I eat more of this, veggies, fats, proteins, more this way, no diabetes. You see that? So, for example, if oftentimes, here's where it's slightly misleading, is if we have, this is common. Well, I have someone that says, well, Maya, I'm being really healthy. For breakfast this morning, I had oatmeal with milk, skim milk, and a side of orange juice. And I put a little dried fruit and nuts on the top of it. And then I didn't have anything to lunch. And when I went to lunch, then I had a whole grain sandwich. And you know, it had some chicken in there with some lettuce and tomato and some real mayonnaise. And I had a bag of chips. I know I shouldn't have chips. Don't worry, I had an apple too. And then I had a little like snack in the afternoon, maybe some chocolate because I was getting tired. And then at dinner time, I had we usually have meat and a starch and a vegetable. And then, you know, I had a little dessert after dinner, but it was a pretty good day. So if we look through that day, you know where I'm going with this. So breakfast, fruit, orange juice, oatmeal, grain, sugar, side of a little bit of dried fruit on the oatmeal, sugar, milk in the oatmeal, sugar. And then I come to lunch. Now I have a whole grain bread. So 2 slices of bread. I don't care if it's whole grain or white. I mean, sure, I'm going to get more nutrition from the whole grain, meaning vitamins and minerals, but I'm still going to break down to sugar, and it's a grain, so 2 grains. Then I got a little meat, then I got a little fat, and a little bit of veggie with the stuff that's inside. Then I had some starchy veggie because I had the potato chips and then an apple, and then I reached for some candy. And then when I went to dinner, well, I had a starchy vegetable and then vegetables and meats and fats. And then I followed it up with some, you know, candy or junk at the end of the day. Do you see how your whole day was sugar, sugar, and sugar with a side of sugar? And we wonder why our blood sugar is high and our triglycerides are high. It's because we are fueling for a marathon that we're not running. A banana isn't bad. Careful with this. Careful with this. You know, when you get the question of, well, is a banana bad because it has too much sugar? When I am having, I don't know, too much food at dinner or having dessert every day. Let's not worry about the banana before we start to think about maybe the some of the fast food that I just had, right? We got to put things in perspective here. So a banana is 25 grams of carbohydrate. Now I'm going to take this one step further, and this is a lot. You may want to stop the video right here and come back to this video at a later point in time, because I'm going to take you one step further, okay? I might come out of the screen here for just a second. So, carbohydrates. All this carbohydrate right here, I'll come back this way. All this carbohydrate right here, every 2 to 3 hours, so as long as you are not a CrossFitter, you're running marathons, or you have extreme activity throughout your day. So as long as you're none of those things, you're only burning about 25 grams of carbohydrate every 2 to 3 hours. You're only burning about 25 grams of carbohydrate every 2 to 3 hours, meaning one banana is 25 grams of carbohydrate. So now if I'm having a banana and or tortilla and some peanut butter or something along those lines, well, now I just have 40 grams of carbohydrate. Or if I have a big bowl of rice, or if I have 4 tortillas at a meal, well, that's 60 grams of carbohydrate. If I have oatmeal with skim milk and a side of orange juice, now I've just had 100 grams of carbohydrate, and I'm not using those. So you can see how it's going to increase your blood sugar, increase the fat in your blood, and therefore put even excess weight on your body. This right here, like I said, watch it and rewatch it and rewatch it. I'm not saying these foods are bad. I am not saying these foods are bad. I am saying that if you and I were the same height, age, weight, sex, everything, we still would need 2 totally different amounts of carbohydrate. What your blood work is telling you is that you're eating too much for your body. That's all it's telling you. So pay attention. And it means that I'm over-consuming this category. So instead of, you could be all or nothing and just, to get rid of it, and that will certainly help. Yes, it will. There's the decompress phase, which we use for it here at New Area. Knowing you can also just reduce as well, that's fine too. Knowing that at one meal, maybe you don't have 3 pieces of fruit a day. Maybe you have 1 piece of fruit a day and bring it down that way. Maybe if you love beans and you've always been having, rice and beans on a regular basis, you're getting a huge load right here. So there's many different ways to manipulate all of this. I would highly encourage you to start moving in this direction. It's going to sound weird when I say this, but especially if you are in the this category, there is nothing wrong with a really good piece of meat with fat. There's nothing wrong with that at all, because it's going to help rebalance your blood sugar, and vegetables as well. Listen to your body. Really start paying attention to your body. If your numbers are off and you're watching this video, this is a really great opportunity to start really paying attention to what your body's asking for. If you have any additional questions on the carbohydrate types, reach out to myself or one of our health coaches, and we'd be more than happy to dive into it with you. A really great exercise that I will leave you with is this. Write down everything you eat for 3 days. Write down everything you eat for 3 days. Come back, watch this video again, and maybe just pause it right here. And ask yourself, what is each of these that I just ate in the past 3 days? Protein, fat, carbohydrate. If it's a carbohydrate, what type of carbohydrate did I just consume? We're always here if you need any additional help.